Wapi makofi mazuri ya party leader? Wiper! Aisikiki jamani, Wiper! Karibu, Your Excellency.
My brother Gideon Moi, Senator Baringo and Chair of KANU, our party chair, Madam Agatha Solitei, National Director of National Elections Board, and the Elections Board here, I can see your team is here, Uma Matemu and others, your Vice Chair, Waheshimiwa wabunge, mabibi na mabwana, our media, welcome to SKM Command Center. I think by now this place is not new to all of us. Today, I want to be very brief. I know the country is almost at a standstill, with a lot of expectation, a lot of anxiety, and I want to ask all of us to please relax. Please relax. It will be recalled by many Kenyans that, I forget the date, but it was the famous Jacaranda grounds in Embakasi East, when I declared that I was willing, ready and able to say my brother Raila Odinga Tosha for a third time. But since that time, a lot of things have happened that have tended to negate that very spirit. Recently I went on a tour of Mombasa through Makwiny and Taita Taveta counties and a bit of Kwale, received in Mombasa by very enthusiastic Kenyans who were telling me, we will not allow you to go and do that interview. And they gave their reasons. Having deputized my brother Raila twice, was even President Kibaki's vice president, they thought we had the credentials. And so at the end of it all, I presented myself, much to the consternation of so many of them who felt I shouldn't have. But those Kenyans who know my very clear stand on humility and values and servant leadership, I felt I didn't want to give the impression that I was arrogant, that I was proud. I didn't want to appear before eminent personalities like Bishop Mjenga, Bishop Zacchaeus Okoth, and others. And I took the decision then to go. In fact, immediately after I finished that conversation, just strictly not an interview, I left for an assignment in Juba, South Sudan. And when I was there, I tried to follow what's going on. That this matter of who will be Raila's running mate will actually be resolved by Raila himself, myself, possibly Moi has been a very key member of the council established under the Azimio Alliance. And the council chair has been President Uhuru Kenyatta. So I want Kenyans to know we've been in full consultations, that although the eminent persons have done their work, the final decision has actually been taken by the candidate himself, the Honorable Raila Odinga, his own decision, which I respect. And I wish him and his running mate, our sister Mother KARUA, well. But I also made it very clear that if I know my country, if I know our country well, that decision will meet with overwhelming opposition. And therefore, we have agreed to go our separate ways and compare notes as we move. I'm talking to you as my brother Gideon is here, and I know that some people have been saying Gideon was sent to rope Kalonzo in, but remember Gideon, when we had CJ, we used to call him Mr. Ropeman. He was supposed to rope. And I spoke this morning to Honorable David Ocheng, who is in the United States. Must have been very early for him, and he's fully with us in these things. So, in order to go our separate ways, the options are obvious, that we need to revisit the matter of the coalition under the Political Parties Amendment Act. And my honest opinion, and this is what I'm going to follow through after this, is OCA continues as originally established, Azimio continues as established, originally established, and we move on. We move on. Compare notes. We have a business here to save this land, to rid this land of corruption, to rid this country of negative energy, hatred, and our manifesto, Wiper Democratic Movement. You have snippets of the same 24-hour economy. When I was in Mombasa, I reminded everybody, hey, listen, don't quarrel about standard gauge railway. It's an important piece of infrastructure. Never mind the exorbitant cost or whatever others may think. But look at the bigger picture. Declare Mombasa and Lamu free ports and see what happens. What happens, and work 24 hours. Therefore, we need to reset our minds as Kenyans. I will be talking. In fact, I had convinced our political team, call them politicos, when we've been consulting on some of these issues. I said this week, I am going to be mute. But it became necessary because of the outcome of these consultations that I have to speak. Soon after this, I want to go mute for another 1 week to reflect and to think, because these are weighty matters. And I know people, the ordinary folks who rush out there, do their blogging, very good, paid to blog, call us names, do whatever they want to say, but we will remain very firm, very, very firm. Because I think the majority of Kenyans want an alternative between Kenya Kwisha and Azimio. That's now the fact. Kwa hivyo, hakika tutaweza. Oka, hakika tutaweza. And I'm saying what I'm just said here is in absolute good faith. In fact, the terms of engagement under this Grand Coalition Agreement is based on utmost good faith. And where there is no good faith, then you can't do business. And some of us have suffered the consequences of bad faith for far too long. I mean, for how long do people expect one Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka to be the one always to sacrifice? Always to sacrifice. And then after sacrificing, they mess up the country. We will not allow this to continue. So we are set. Amka mama, God bless you. Ameamka. You know, we are a party that, as Wiper Democratic Movement, that believes in gender parity, 50-50%. 50% women, 50% men in government. And that we remain committed to. Therefore, I must thank our elections board because, and I think the chair herself will say that, reflect, look at the history that we have walked since Kasarani, when, in my view, we had probably one, if not the best, organized National Delegates Congress. I see a governor candidate for Tharaka Nithi, Nyamu Kagwema, agreeing, because I think he joined from that point. And so the mandate was given to me to run for president, to negotiate with others, And when we came, and remember Kenyans, I said, this time I will negotiate for myself because we have suffered injustice in the past. And I'm happy to say the results of those consultations are what I've told you. And we have agreed as brothers and as sisters in the interest of this country to go a separate way. And we will then, it is never too late to come back. It is never country. And therefore I want on my part to thank my brother President Uhuru Kenyatta, who has remained constant in this struggle of having to agree on who is a running mate. In fact, Kenyans had assumed at Jacaranda, when I said Raila tosha mara ya tatu, I remember Brother Gideon, we meeting at the people did not expect there would be a contest and then a dragging through the mud of one who has selflessly said this country is more important than all of us. Now I'm saying Kenya is important, yes, but those citizens living within our boundaries have a duty and responsibility to each other. Doing what a betraying becomes, and you remember I've talked about politics of deceit. I don't want to continue. Today we called you because consequent upon those consultations, my brother Raila knows I'm naming my running mate. In fact, from Mombasa he came home to try to convince me to accept his choice of our sister mother KARUA. We did not agree, and I said, let's sleep over it. We slept over it, and last night we are at it. We did not again agree, so this is why we agreed that you will name mother and I will name my running mate today as within. So ignore the interviews and whatever. The whole issue was Raila and me and my brothers, President Uhuru and my brother Gideon Moi. So it so happens that my name, as we speak, is before the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission as a presidential candidate for Wiper Democratic Movement. And that is a legal position. I know some people have expressed doubts about what can happen. To be honest with you, I'll be very frank and open. If Oka had not been messed up under this legal situation, I would have convinced my brother Gideon to be my running mate. I can tell you that. I still may have to. I said, the way forward is open, very open. And I'm going to lead in bringing this country together. Some people have very mistakenly argued, oh, now this is taking us back to 2007. If you are that type of a Kenyan, allow me to say, shame on you. With a lot of respect. And you want this country to go back to post-election violence of 2007? Why don't you, even if you want to be tempted to think that way, why don't you give me credit that I actually brought order to the country and stop the killing? And stop the killing. And ask yourself whether there was any killing at the strongholds of ODM Kenya as we then were before it became Wiper Democratic Movement. We saved literally this country. I'm quite sure we will not go that way again because you'll be winning this time. This time we're winning. This party has grown in leaps and bounds. As I speak to you, we have a candidature of about 106 members of parliament from across the country, from Moyale to Lungalunga, and from Dadaab to Kishi. This is a national movement. If, as I speak to you, we are the third largest political party during the 12th, my prayer and hope is that we are going to be either number 1 or number 2. We'll compete with our friends in Kano and others. So, the decision I'm about to take are to take into account the future of these candidates. 22 senatorial candidates, 11 governors, over nearly 400 MCAs. If I just wound up and said, kwaheri ya konana, I devalue the ticket that you have been given. And worse still, by devaluing the same, others will take advantage and move into the party's strongholds and make you look funny. I'm there to make sure you remain solid and dignified. I think that was some very brief remarks so that Kenyans know. That's why I say relax. There's no hostility here. This is brotherly contest and others. But as we move on, we'll keep reviewing our position. But if I live in this country, if people are saying strength of Mount Kenya region, Lower Eastern, I don't know which other part, they are going to be shocked. I am from the mountain on the eastern side. Actually, neighbor to Professor Kithure Kindiki, whom I've mentored, a wonderful young Kenyan, Professor Kindiki. I actually appointed him secretary to Ministry of Constitutional Affairs, where our founding Secretary General, the late Mutula Kalonzo Jr. Mutula and Kindiki worked very closely together. And so, he did his best. I wish him well. Unite this country is our business. We're going to unite. So, if the other side, Kwanza or something, had given it to Professor Kithure, they would have given it to me, because we're just divided by River Tana. And so when I say I'm from the eastern side of the mountain, they'll be shocked if I beat them completely in the mountain. Some of them said, I said I'm a Kikuyu, I'm going to say I'm Luo or something. But the truth of the matter is, understand every Kikuyu word you speak. And it is not because I landed, but because it is the way it is. You pick it. The same kind of conversation. So I do not bore you. Allow me then to now give you my nomination as my running mate during the August 2022, August 9 election. I am pleased to introduce my brother, Entro Letepa Sunkuli.
Aha, wapi makofi. Aha. Shake. Wapi kelele. Wakirusha tunarusha, wakiannounce tunaannounce. Wapi makofi? Wapi makofi ya Buffalo Soldier?